Alright guys, so here we are for a little bit of a different video today. I'll be talking about F1 2016, the game, things that we should hopefully look forward to, things that need to change, things regarding F1 2015 that should be implemented into this game. Overall, I'll just be giving an overview on what we want to see in the next F1 game, basically. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk about career mode, single player, online, things that F1 2015 did right, things that F1 2015 didn't do right and need to change, and even delving into DLC and things that just simply need to be added to the F1 game franchise in order to make these games have a little bit more longevity. So without getting into too much of a ramble, let's just start this straight away. And basically, I'm going to start off with career mode. We need a career mode that's a lot more in depth than what we have. Currently, we have a championship season mode, which isn't really a career mode. We get forced into choosing a driver for the current season, and after that season is done, that's it. It essentially resets, and then you have to choose another driver to pursue another season, just repeated. The 2015 season repeated over and over again until you get sick of the game and want to quit. So what I want to see is just the reintroduction of career mode and sort of implements it with a twist, because the last few years, even when we did have a proper career mode, I felt like it wasn't really a true career mode. The definition of a career mode is for you to stick with a team and build up that team and hopefully get faster, you know, take a lower down team and make them quicker and improve them somehow. The trend that I see, even with myself, I'm guilty of this too, is we all pick a career mode team, we pick them for one season, and then we ditch them straight away and move to another team. That's not exactly a career mode, is it? Unless you're really focusing on your driver career yourself, then technically that could be okay. But what I want to see is some kind of rewards for sticking with a team for more than one season. So what I want to see is like delving more into R&D, becoming the first team driver. You know, once you beat your teammate and get the edge over him in the team, hopefully all of your crew, your engineers and stuff will start catering to you, and you can sort of build the car that you want to build and put tokens towards, you know, areas of the car that you want to improve for the next season, whether it be aerodynamics, the engine, suspension, tyre wear, anything like that. So I think that'd be really cool, and we'll just add a new dimension to the F1 2016 game. So just be aware, I'm recording this in January. The new game, I'm assuming, will come out in about 5 to 6 months. It is a little bit late for me to be implementing ideas, but I'm sort of more talking long term, and hopefully this could come into maybe 2017 or something like that. Moving on, I'd love to see us become our own driver again. Scrap the TV presentation style that we had with David Croft and Anthony Davidson. I personally felt that novelty became old for me within a week, or not even that. Like I was sort of bored of it before I even got to the end of my very first season of championship season. That's how repetitive and just I don't know, boring it was for me, especially with Anthony Davidson. Really didn't feel like he cared. Whereas Crofty, to be fair, he was a good commentator, and he really introduced the races really well, and I think he did a really good job. But for me personally, I'd like to see us have a little bit of personality put back into the game. Let us be our own driver again in place of this TV presentation style that they had for 2015. Another thing I'd like to see is I was just delving around in practice one time, and I saw like you can see which driver is like fastest in the speed traps, but I'd like to see an actual speed trap list, just see where each driver ranks without having to cycle through in the spectator cam. That's where you see it in practice or qualifying. I want to see who is the fastest, who's the slowest, just a comprehensive list of who, you know, where everyone stands, including the player. But at the moment, you actually can't see where the player is yourself, stand on that totem pole in the speed trap. So that would be nice, you know, it would help in aiding my setup, whether I need to increase the downforce or whatever, play with suspension, whatever. But yeah, that's something that would be cool to be introduced. Next, this is more for a long-term thing, like 2017. I would love to see Codemasters introduce a feeder series, for example, GP2 or Formula Renault 3.5. Something as sort of like a prequel to the career mode, because at the moment we just get chucked into F1, you know, we sort of take the F1 series for granted. It would be nice if we could earn our place in F1 and try and earn that test driver seat or something like that. It doesn't even have to be an official series. It could just be an unofficial, unlicensed series. That way that the Codemasters don't need to worry about paying for licenses or anything like that. Have fake driver names, because everyone will be rookies and relatively unknown. It would be awesome to see us just compete against a 20 car field or 30 car field of just cars that sort of look like GP2 cars but aren't GP2, if that makes sense. I think that would be really cool. Project Cars sort of does that with their unofficial cars and tracks, and I think they pull it off really well. The introduction of also safety car and red flags. Now the safety car is a big one because it really introduces a lot of strategy, and it keeps the races closer once a crash happens. For example, when I do F1 2015 Pro Season Mode, the races are 100% length. They're a 90-minute race, and if you're slow, if you get into like the midfield and you're slower than everyone in front of you, but faster than everyone behind you, you're just going to be in no man's land. No one's going to be around you. Like, you can be 10 seconds in front of the people behind you and half a minute behind the people in front of you, and it just becomes so boring that you just want to go on autopilot mode till the end of the race. But safety cars in the previous games, they sort of made the most out of a bad or boring race, and they really brought the races alive once an incident happened. So I think that really needs to come back, and we'll see a lot less boring races in F1 2015. Also, while I'm talking about Pro Season Mode, I feel like it's a bit of a useless game mode at the moment. It's simply Career Mode or Championship Season Mode, except you've just taken off all the assists, and you've taken off, the ability to rewind, and you're shoved in cockpit cam. So that's not really a legitimate game mode, is it? It's a bit wrong for Codemasters to label it as a brand new game mode, so to speak. So I would like to see that exchanged for scenario mode or some other new type of game mode. Hopefully they're working on for 2016. That would be lovely. But now I'm going to move on to the online aspects of the F1 games and just talk about things that need to be changed or even introduced for the new upcoming F1 game. And firstly, we need to get rid of hoppers. Hoppers do not need to be a thing in any future F1 game to come. We need to realize that the F1 game is not Call of Duty. This isn't FIFA. There isn't, thousands upon thousands of people waiting to play the game and matchmake with other people. We need to keep it simple and just limit it to Sprint Mode Championship and custom lobbies, because at the moment with the hopper system, it was split into 9 different options, and there's just too many, and I think the lobbies made people far too segregated, and you would only find maybe 1 or 2 people, if you're lucky, online at the same time, and you'd never get a proper race because people would quit. People only want to race against, massive lobbies, like at least 10 or more, in order to make it interesting. So bring back the old system of sprint mode and custom lobbies, and you'll see the return of a really active online base of people coming back. So that'd be lovely. And also introducing like a really comprehensive list for like leaderboards, having wins, pole positions, podiums, total races completed, crashes, all these kind of stats. I think a lot of people would really appreciate a really good leaderboard and trying to, get to the top 100, top 1,000, whether it be the top 1% of, wins, whatever. I think that'd be really cool. That was a big motivator for me and a lot of my friends. Back on F1 2010, we wanted to get like in the top 100 of most wins or like most races or something like that. That'd be really awesome. Just give the game a little bit of longevity for people as a motivation to keep playing the game, right throughout the year. I myself, when I was first getting into the F1 games, I always sort of looked up to the people who were top of the time trial leaderboards or top of the multiplayer leaderboards. So I think that'd be really cool and would, keep people playing the game all year round. So that is pretty much the online in a nutshell. There isn't too much to talk about there. Just remove the hoppers. The lag isn't too bad on F1 2015 at the moment. They actually improved it quite a bit from the start of the game's life cycle, where there was just time trials everywhere. Everyone was desyncing, but I think they managed to fix that up. So kudos to Codemasters for fixing that up, and hopefully they can start F1 2016 on the right foot in terms of lag and synchronization and all that things. So now I'm going to talk about things that F1 2015 did right, and I want this list to be a little indication of things that I don't want to be changed all too much. Maybe little tweaks here and there would be fine, but overall, try not to completely change what has already been a successful formula in the previous game. So handling was a really good factor of the F1 2015 game. It's by far, for me, being the best handling game. I probably preferred it the most. The sense of weight was awesome with the cars, and I just felt like this was probably the most realistic handling model we've had to date in all the F1 games by Codemasters. Moving on, the AI have also been really good. They've been very raceable. The difficulty level of the AI has been the most challenging so far. I still feel like they need to up the difficulty just a little bit more to make it a little bit more realistic, because I still beat my teammate by like over a second at most racetracks in career mode or single player. So that still needs to be worked on a little bit. But overall, I think the difficulty level has been spot on so far with the 2015 game. Tire wear has also been really good. I like that you can have, you know, varying strategies, whether it be 2 stops, 3 stops. You can push for 1 less stop versus AI, and most of the time you should be, you know, you're going to feel the consequences of that. You know, there's always the risk of a tire puncture or your tires going off the cliff, but I don't feel like it's OP. There's always the option to do one or the other, and I feel like just having the right mix of tire wear versus, you know, doing 1 less stop, I think that's it's got a right balance at the moment. I think it's really good. So hopefully they don't play with the tire wear too much. If anything, just make some small tweaks here and there to improve it where you see fits. But apart from that, I really enjoyed the spectator cam in qualifying and in practice. So you can sit in the garage and you can watch all the other cars doing their hot laps. You can see their what lines they're taking. You can see where they are in the speed traps. I think that's really good if you're just killing time in the qualifying or practice session. You can just watch AI, and I guess if that's the thing for you, then it's pretty entertaining, I suppose. Also, the replay cameras have been revolutionized this way in a way, because you can now watch other cars during the race or in qualifying or whatever, and it also makes, for me personally, better videos, because I can sort of get the perspective of other cars and see what happened in an incident, and also tell a story of the race. It's a little bit better. So I really like that they've implemented that. It just adds another dimension to the game, and hopefully they keep that for F1 2016, because we've seen in the past with certain little things with the F1 games, they introduce something really good, but then in the next game it's gone. So hopefully that stays for 2016 and the games following to come. So that's the good things that F1 2015 did right. There's probably more than that, but that's just a very simple, comprehensive list there. But now I'm going to move on to some things that probably need to change for F1 2016. The damage model was a little bit hit and miss. It was a bit inconsistent sometimes. You'd smash into a wall and you wouldn't lose any part of your front wing, whereas other times you'd have like the tiniest little incident ever and you'd lose half your front wing and you'd be pretty much crippled in your lap time. So you need to come in and change your front wing. And also sometimes when I came into the pits to change my front wing, more often than not, I would not get a slower pit stop. I get a normal pit stop, and it would still take 2.5 seconds. So that needs to be rectified. Also, a really big one, especially for online and for league races, the penalties for track limits. They need to be really strict on corner cutting, and introduce an even stricter or harsher, option for corner cutting. You know, the track limit is the white lines, and if you go more than 2 wheels off the racetrack, then you should be disallowed or prevented to complete that lap if you've exceeded the track limits on that particular lap. So hopefully that can be rectified for F1 2016. Also, another big one, and this is for the PC, is PC modding. So if you want to include realistic damage, or change the liveries of certain cars, or just play with the weather or anything like that, you can't do that on F1 2015. And unfortunately, that really is a detriment to the game's longevity. And so people get bored of the vanilla game, and they just sort of go play older games, or they go play another game or whatever. So we need to see the introduction of PC modding. It really adds longevity to a pretty bare bones F1 game, and it really spices it up after a few months of playing the same thing day in, day out. So that would be really cool if they got rid of the encryption, just make it free for people to mod like we could in F1 2010 right through to F1 2014. That would be awesome. Also, I felt like setups were a little bit glitchy in F1 2015. Sometimes I actually felt like the default setup was faster than any other setup I could bolt onto the car, so that was a little bit weird. Other times I felt like the setup didn't even work, so I'd put on like a low downforce setup and I'd still feel slower than the AI more often than not. And I think that may be also down to the rich fuel mixture being a little bit glitched. I always felt like I was slower than the AI, even though I was in a Mercedes-powered car, or even the Mercedes Works car, so I'm not too sure what the deal is there. I just felt like using rich sometimes would be a little bit inconsistent, and it would actually make me slower sometimes. So I don't know what the deal is there, but that was a little bit weird. And now finally, I'm not going to drag on too long with this video, so I'm going to pretty much end it after this point, and I'm talking about DLC and just adding longevity to the game, because from F1 2014 and F1 2015, they've been really bare bones games, and I personally have been pretty bored of these games after a month or two of playing them day in, day out. So we need to see, like with other racing games, they're introducing DLC, 2 to 3 months, 6 months after the game comes out, just breathing new energy into the game by introducing a new track, whether it be like an old track that F1 has been to before, like Turkey, Imola, Brands Hatch, Adelaide, something like that. Maybe like once a month or every second month. Just give us something new to play. We crave something new with these F1 games, and we just don't get it at the moment because the game is so limited and there's nothing really to do in the first place. So some DLC, even if it's paid DLC, I don't mind. I'm sure like most people wouldn't mind either, that if we just added something into the game 6 months after it comes out, it would really add some longevity to the game. That also goes for maybe even adding cars, whether it be, classic cars. It doesn't have to be a full, from a full season like 1977 or something. It can just be like one car from 1 year, whether it be like the McLaren MP4-4, like a classic Michael Schumacher Ferrari, or like one of the first like F1 cars that ever came into existence, like the really old Silver Arrows cars that we've seen back in the 50s, I believe, or something like that. That would be really cool. Also going back to online, just adding maybe online ranks so that people have a motivation to keep playing the game, for months on end, because I feel like with F1 2015 and F1 2014, everyone just sort of gets bored and they lose the motivation to keep playing the game after, they get sick of driving, because there's no motivation for us to keep playing longer than a couple months. So that's pretty much it. Also adding in new helmets and ranks and levels for continuously playing online. So most of this video is just trying to bring back the longevity. I'm trying to make F1 games interesting again beyond that honeymoon stage of a new game coming out. That's what I really want to see. F1 2016 will be a success if we can see a lot of people playing it all year round. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, if there's anything I've missed, anything you want to see come in the game, anything you don't like about F1 2015, or something completely brand new you want to see added to the F1 games. Let me know down in the comments. I'm almost certain the Codemasters themselves will be scrolling through this comment section and looking for possibly inspiration, just looking for some feedback to get ideas for this upcoming F1 game, or maybe even a long-term thing like F1 2017 or whatever. I'm sure those guys would really appreciate your constructive criticism down in the comments section. So that's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I'll be covering more F1 2016 news, of course, once we figure out what's happening with the new game this year. So subscribe to the channel to see all these new F1 game videos. I'm going to delve into some random racing game videos as well in the not too distant future. So that's going to do this for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this long rambly type video, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon.